Today, I want to talk about something that I'm truly passionate about, your immune system, how to support it, what are red flags. The importance of it sounds like a no-brainer, right? We have a God-given immune system that fights viruses, bacteria, and cancer. And yet, this immune system supports us. A functioning immune system does not start to attack your body parts, and that's autoimmunity. Viruses, bacteria, cancer. That part of the immune system is your innate immune system, and that is really one end of this teeter-totter that we want to balance. You see, we get cancer every day. Cancer is abnormal cells that start to have no restrictions in how long they live and how fast they divide. And so it's abnormal DNA that just starts to replicate quickly and uncontrolled. And when your immune system detects the single cell or several cell level, it goes in and destroys it. And that's how we prevent cancer. So these things that cause cancer are things that lead to this abnormal DNA and this abnormal replication of cells. It's not usually genetic, something else triggers it. But the beauty is that we have a God-given immune system that recognizes these cells and destroys them before they ever have the opportunity to turn into a recognizable tumor that you either feel or that's detectable on an imaging study. That's so important. What else does the innate immune system do? It protects us against viruses. The common cold, influenza, herpes virus, human papillomavirus, HPV, Epstein-Barr virus, coronavirus. If we have a strong immune system, the immune system recognizes the cells that have been infected by the virus and destroys them so that the virus can't take over your manufacturing and lead to things that just create massive body inflammation. And then intracellular bacteria is the last component of the innate immune system. So chlamydia is an intracellular bacteria, mycobacterium is an intracellular bacteria, tuberculosis, these things that can evade the immune system, which means hide from the immune system because they're not circulating in the general body tissues to be recognized by the soldiers that are protecting you. And actually, Lyme disease can have an intracellular component, which is why there's this thing called persistent Lyme disease even after treatment. When the organism detects the immune system is targeting it, it slips intracellularly, kind of like hiding in a cave until things quiet down and then it can come back out again. Some of these things I call stealth infections. And why do I say that? Because if you have strep throat, it's not subtle. Your throat hurts, you have pus on your tonsils, you have a fever, you know you're sick. But these stealth infections, they just cause inflammation. They'll show up with symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, mood issues, just general aches and pains, which many doctors, not knowing better, will say, oh, but you're 40, 50, 60, aches and pains are normal. Fatigue is normal. Age-related cognitive decline is normal. A lot of these things that accelerate aging that your regular doctor tells you that's just normal could be stealth infections. So if you have a strong innate immune system, it's your best chance at preventing reactivation of these viruses, cancer, protection. Way better than any vaccine man has invented. Now, the other side of the immune system is the antibody-mediated immune system, and that's the other side of the teeter-totter. That is what builds antibodies to these extracellular bacteria, and that's what we test for to see if you had exposure to like strep. It also builds antibodies against viruses. That's also when we're testing to see if you've had exposure by antibodies. We're looking at the antibody-mediated immune system. But there's this beautiful balance that is so important, and that is your immune system needs to be strong enough to fight viruses, bacteria, and cancer, but smart enough to recognize you and not build antibodies against you. So what are antibodies against you? Thyroid antibodies are anti-thyroglobulin antibodies and thyroid stimulating antibodies and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. These are all things that have to do with your thyroid function. If your immune system starts building antibodies against your thyroid, it can destroy thyroid tissue and eventually lead to hypothyroidism. Well, that's Hashimoto's. And that is immune system dysfunction. Not supposed to happen. A big one is anti-nuclear antibodies. This is antibodies against your DNA, and it's supposed to be buried deep inside your cells. And if it's been exposed to your immune system and your body starts building antibodies against your DNA, that's a problem. Now, in our practice, we screen for that. We screen for an anti-nuclear antibody antibody and we screen for thyroid antibodies periodically because we know that things disrupt and cause immune system dysfunction. I believe that also puts you at increased risk for cancer because you have an unbalanced teeter-totter. You have high antibody-mediated immunity, and that means you have low cell-mediated immunity. It doesn't do the job that God intended it to. Now, one of my big concerns is that the regular modern medicine, insurance medicine, traditional medicine, whatever you want to call it, number one, they don't screen for anti-nuclear antibodies. There's lots of evidence that says that if you have a positive ANA, you have a markedly increased chance of developing frank autoimmune disease within the next 10 years. Isn't that important to know and identify before you have the end organ damage to identify which immune system disease you have? Yet many people that finally get an ANA tested, and the typical indications for testing an ANA is a persistent not feeling well. So I have patients come to see me that have a long history of fatigue, brain fog, aches and pains, not feeling well, and eventually their regular doctor orders this ANA test. And then if it comes back positive, they immediately get a referral to a rheumatologist, and the rheumatologist is the specialist of autoimmune diseases. They go to see the rheumatologist does all these questions with them and says often, well, you don't have autoimmune disease yet, so there's really nothing I can do for you. Come back later when you're sicker, and then we can offer you medication to treat. Oh, that breaks my heart, and do not accept that if it's happened to you. There's so much that can be done to decrease and balance your immune system. If your teeter-totter's like this, and here's your cell-mediated immunity, and here's your antibody-mediated immunity, if we raise cell-mediated immunity and bring down antibody-mediated immunity, you can correct it, and then you never get the end organ damage. All of these immune diseases, autoimmune diseases, are based on a clinical diagnosis from end organ damage. If it affects your liver, it's autoimmune hepatitis. If you have enough intestinal damage, it's either Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. If it's your joints that are affected, then it's rheumatoid arthritis. If it's your soft tissue and your blood vessels, then it's lupus. If it's your thyroid, it's Hashimoto's or Graves' disease if it causes hyperthyroidism. If it's your brain, it's multiple sclerosis or ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. These are bad. Why would you want to wait for those to show up before you do major evaluation? Take control of your health. That's why in our practice, about once a year, we check an ANA on people. And if it's positive, it's a red flag, and we take immediate steps to evaluate what's triggering this immune system dysfunction. This is important. Like, we're entering cold and flu season, right? So your best chance at not getting deathly ill from the flu or catching every cold that comes by is a strong immune system, a balanced immune system. And one of the tests to evaluate if your immune system is balanced are testing for these antibodies, either thyroid antibodies or the ANA, the anti-nuclear antibody. So I would suggest you get these tests done, and if they're positive, seek help from someone who understands that there's a lot that can be done about immune system dysfunction. I'm Dr. Yvonne Carney. I hope you found this helpful. If you have and you know someone that would benefit from it, please share it with them. If you want more information like this, I'd be grateful for a subscription or a follow. I'll do my best to help you take control of your health.